Hello, I advise you to grab a snack because this is a long one. Thank you. Stay tuned. If you don't know already, my name is Sarah. Thank you so much for watching and subscribe because I'm awesome and you're awesome and we should be friends. Today's video is going to be a little different because I was watching TV. I was watching actually my favorite show, which is called Forensic Files, and this episode of Forensic Files, which I'm about to tell you, really pissed me off. I feel so sorry for this person. I wanted to talk to you about it and get your thoughts on it. So it's going to be a long video. I'm going to do my makeup at the same time and talk to you about this. And the episode is in Forensic Files. It's season 20, episode 3. It's called Vanished, like vanished. It's a play on words because why not be super insensitive? The name, the victim, so because she's a child when this happened, and I will warn you, this talks about, trigger warning, there is sexual assault in this, so if you will get triggered, please do not watch this. So viewers' discretion is advised. The victim's name is Dana Stenson. She is 12 years old. Her parents are Diana and Albert. Albert is actually a prison guard. Just keep that in mind. Albert has nothing to do with it, but like still. Dana is a 12-year-old girl. It was a Wednesday afternoon in Texas in a town called Freeport. She was walking to her church and going to a Bible study class. 2 hours later, her mum was advised that she never actually made it to class, so she was full on missing. When she was supposed to be home, her mum couldn't find her, so she ended up calling the police, which is, you know, normal because your child is missing. So her mum calls the police, are trying to find her. All the locals come out and try to help her. Albert is a prison guard and he thinks that one of the ex-convicts has taken his daughter in retaliation of him working in a prison. Several hours go past, and by this time it is around 10 p.m. and there is a group of young boys playing basketball. This is where Dana walks up to them and it tells them that she's been kidnapped, and this is where she goes to a local police station. Now this is the bit that annoys the shit out of me, and it seriously irks me because this poor girl has been reunited with her family and she's showing absolutely no emotion. She is most definitely shocked, right? This is what's happened to her. No one knows what's happened to her yet besides her. So she's talking to the police, and the woman who's interrogating her, because she's not been questioned, she's been interrogated, is named Sue Dietrich or Dietrich, says that her emotion, and they quoted, her memory is too clear, her manner is too unemotional, and her heroism is too unbelievable. So in this interview, Dana is explaining to the police that she has been kidnapped, and she's telling them that this man come up to her in the church parking lot and said to her, he's like gave her some directions because she couldn't find her classroom, and then he come up to behind her. So he was walking with her, come up behind her, and then kidnapped her and drove somewhere. She said the van, and he put her in a coffin-like box lined with carpet, and she said that she could hear the ocean, so that's how she knew she was near the ocean. And this is the first time he assaulted her, was in the van. A few hours go by, and then he takes her to a hotel and does it again. So assaults her for the second time. This poor young girl has been put through hell. Mind you, she's only 12. He is a middle-aged white guy. She was describing the man who took her was a middle-aged white guy. Dana's describing to the police what happened to her. She tells her mother that the man had a knife and he said he was going to kill her. And then she's like, please don't kill me, which obviously anyone would say, please don't kill me. And he ended up letting her go. And this was around 10 p.m. at night time. He ends up letting her go. And that's when she walks up to the group of boys, and this is where the police get involved. The police officers say that they're skeptical because Dana's reactions to these crimes that she's describing, like these terrible crimes that are happening to her, she's describing with no emotion. Mind you, she has, when something's terrible happens, some people do not react the same way. But the police are skeptical and don't believe. They actually say to her, the female officer who named Sue, she actually describes and says when she's interviewed today that she didn't believe Dana because of her lack of emotion and the horrible things that she was saying that happened to her. She just thought someone would be more emotional. The reason why they didn't believe her at first is because the man dropped her off near one of her friend's houses or something. And I looked up Freeport, Texas, And it says the population is about 13,000. 13,000 people? Like, come on. You could literally have friends around the entire town. So like, how is that relevant? Anyway, this is a 12-year-old girl, mind you. So they said they didn't believe her. So they end up telling Dana that they don't believe her because they say to her the place that she was dropped off near a friend's house might have been her boy that they were dropped off near. She was dropped off near. That people describe their relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend. Mind you, she is 12 years old. She is a child, 12 years old. The police weren't questioning her about her sexual assault. They were interrogating her, saying that they don't believe her and they made it up. She's made it up. This is disgusting. No wonder rape crimes do not get reported, because if this is the police, how they respond. So this aired in 2001, so I'm not entirely sure. If I find out what year it was that this happened, I'll let you know. They told her that they didn't believe her, and this is apparently where Dana showed first signs of emotion. I'm not lying. You can believe what you want, but I'm not lying. Do with what that information you wanted. The police were like, confiscated her clothing. This poor girl didn't even get to go. At this stage, no one said anything about her going to the hospital. They took away her clothes, so confiscated her clothes. Luckily, they did this, but still, that is disgusting behavior on this police department. And they confiscated her clothes and told her to come back the next day and to come in for a second interview. Mind you, at this point, they haven't done a rape kit or anything like that, and they didn't do one. Luckily, when they took all of her clothing and stuff from her clothing, but this poor girl, like at 12 years old, she has a stronger woman than I am, and I am much older than her, but like, if I'd gone through half the shit that she had gone through, I would not have been able to cope. Anyway, they confiscate her clothes and ask her to come back the second day for another interview. They say interview, but really they mean interrogation, because who the fuck acts like that? Next day, they see her. They apologize when they saw the bruises? No. So the next day they see her, and she has now visible bruises on her wrists and around her mouth and on her face, because the bruising has actually become more apparent. And they can see that they're fucked up. For the second interview, they ask her, you know, what do you remember? Her memory, mind you, at 12 years old, I would say unfortunately for her, but fortunate for the police, that she can remember what she remembers. She remembers seeing the word wood, like on the side of the van, and she remembers that there was, see, Australians call them eskies because that's the brand of what they're called. They're called an esky. Americans call them ice chests. They're like where you put your drinks in. And so there was an orange cooler, ice chest, esky, whatever you want to call them, with Dr. Peppers in them. Personally, we don't get Dr. Pepper much here, but I want to because I love the cherry flavor. They end up interviewing her again for the second time and find out all this information. So she was in the back of a van, had carpet in the box. It was like a coffin style box. And she was there in that coffin for hours. In my head, if he's taken her to a hotel room, so previously the second assault taken place in a hotel room, if he's taken her to a hotel room, how did no one see her? How did he get a hotel room without being seen in a town that small? Like, come on. I want to know. This is just like, there's so many questions about this scenario that makes me really hate the policing system there. And like, if people were treated like that, no wonder they haven't had many reports of sexual assault, because like, why would you report that if you get treated like that? She's been treated like a criminal. Like the actual offender, he would probably have been treated better. What annoys me is the fact that they even the police even mentioned that they should have taken her to the hospital sooner, but the police didn't even take her to the hospital. Her parents took her to the hospital. Kenneth G. Allen was the district attorney. It says like first response, which I'm assuming it means like a sexual assault first response attorneys. He said that their point of call, he said that it's actually procedure, which is, keep that in mind, procedure. So if it's procedure, why didn't they do it? But he said it's procedure for them to take them to the hospital sooner. So when the police, luckily they took her clothing away them the first day, so they confiscated her clothes. They had socks, jeans and a pullover, which I'm assuming is a jumper or a jacket. And luckily they had that because they had fibers. So With her wrists and her face, she had duct tape around her wrists and her face, and she had rope on her ankles. So the fibers on her ankles and on her socks were of a bluish tinge, so matching to a rope, and the fibers on her clothing were matching to a carpet. The carpet was blue, so she was in a coffin-like box. That's what was on her clothing. She did not have any DNA on herself anymore because, mind you, it's been the next day. So it's not until after her interview, her second interrogation, mind you, that she was sent to the hospital. She's been interrogated twice. They finally start to believe her. So 24 hours later, Freeport police, you are doing a great job, just saying. But the detective, so the female detective, Sue Diedrich, I said that her name before, she said that she was quite impressed with Dana. Mind you, she said she didn't believe Dana at first, but whatever. She said she was quite impressed with Dana because her memory was so good and she was remembering details, and in great detail, of things that adults wouldn't even remember. If I was Dana, I would have said to her. She described that the man was in his mid-40s, average build, so medium to average build. He had blonde hair and blue eyes, and he was white. They actually took this to the media, and it was posted in the media, girl abducted near church, and they were trying to get people's help to see if they had any information or like if they witnessed anything. Mind you, eyewitness testimonies are not usually something that the police really rely on, because eyewitnesses, even like my personal experience of being assaulted, my eyewitness testimony was wrong, which is what I described, what I thought was real and what happened, and I was wrong, which is scary because I was like, I definitely remember it happening, but I was off. Anyway, but they said they put it towards the media. It's like, has anyone seen this white van? You know, has the word wood on the side, and it was near this Catholic church. They did actually get a witness come forward saying that he saw a white van around this time. It was 2 days later, and it was one of Dana's neighbors, and he said that he saw a white van circling around the church that had Surfside floor and tile on the side of it. Like, it was driving around the church and like kind of circling around, which makes me think that he was stalking, if he was actually predating around. So maybe this person was waiting for Dana, or he was just waiting for anyone, and unfortunately Dana happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. The police actually go to the phone book, like a physical phone book. Like, what are they? And they look up Surfside flooring and floor and tile, and they find a business called Surfside Insulation, Carpet, Ceramic, Vinyl, Tile and Wood. And they find out this business is owned by a man named Randy Lee Allen, 36-year-old, who has been married to his wife for 17 years and has a 7-year-old son. He has no criminal record, and the police ask him to come down to the police station because he might be a witness to a crime. Now, because Randy Lee Allen has no criminal record, is this the guy? And he's been married for 17 years because, like, married men can't do anything wrong. They ask him, does he know anything about this crime? And he denies it. He says, no, he doesn't. And he gives them a witness statement that he was with his wife and son at dinner time. So he has an airtight alibi. So while they've got Randy in custody, they ask him if they could search his van because they actually have no grounds to keep him at this point, because his wife corroborated with him saying that he was with them around the time of the abduction. Now, because at this point the guy said that he's seen the van at about 5:45 and his wife and him were out to dinner. Police don't have any legal grounds, but they ask Randy if they can search his van, and they search his van. There is no coffin-like box in the van, but there is blue carpeting, and inside the van there is an orange ice chest, igloo, which is what Dana saw. The word igloo she saw on an orange ice chest, and the lid was open and it actually had Dr. Peppers in. So they thought that was quite interesting, and they also saw blue and white rope. With this blue and white rope, they took samples of both the carpet and of the rope, and they found out that the fibers that they had on Dana's clothing and the fibers they had in Randy Allen's car or van was the compound nylon 6-6 or 66. Now, to make a better comparison, they used a machine called microspectrophotometer, which is basically a machine that measures color. Now, they use this machine to get a complete comparison and make sure that the colors are exactly the same for evidence, and they found that the colors were the exact same. That's suspicious. They get the results back from the lab saying that the materials are exactly the same. So they go to Randy's house and they find in his garage some pieces of lumber with blue carpeting on it. The police ask him to set up the blue coffin-like material and if he can reconstruct it in his van. He does so. He willingly does so. And the police say that he muttered to himself almost as if he was talking to himself. Well, she was a little one, wasn't she? They go back to Dana and they say to her, look, we've got police lineup, photos. So it wasn't in person, it was photos. They said that our assailant may or may not be there. According to Detective Dietrich, she said that Dana looked at the photos and in less than 3 seconds went, that guy. Positively identified Randy Allen as being her attacker, being the man. She's like, this is the man who did that to me. He's the man who abducted me and did those things to me. Randy Allen was told by police that he has been positively identified as the rapist and that Dana has positively identified him. He actually confesses. He said, yes, I did that. And he read his confession on tape. Actually quite disturbing. He doesn't seem like to have any remorse. Like he's like, yes, I did that to that girl. I took her back to my van. Like, please sir, shut the all his business associates, his wife especially, did not want to believe that he could do this. Like, no one could believe that this guy has done this because this is a very particular crime. He has a 7-year-old son and he is a pedophile. So his wife definitely didn't want to believe this. Which is fair enough. You've been married to someone for 17 years. You don't want to find out that they're a complete monster. I mean, I feel really sorry for the wife because she probably couldn't even show her face around anymore. Yes, her husband is a monster, but that poor woman. The police are a little bit concerned about some details of the crime because some things are not lining up, because how was he at dinner and when he was when Dana was kidnapped? And so he said that he had actually left her in the coffin and went out to dinner. So left her at his house in the coffin-shaped box and then took her back to the hotel. So she was in that box for several hours, just probably scared out of her mind. And that is when he took her back to the hotel. So the second assault happened much later because he had gone out to dinner. What a gentleman, taking his wife out to dinner. This is the reason, the police say this is the reason why she was so resilient, Dana was so resilient and probably survived, because they say Randy Allen actually said he was planning to kill her and not let her live, but because she actually refused to do any more, she said, no, I don't want this. I want you to let me go. Stop what you're doing. Randy Allen actually did stop what he was doing and let her go. Police say that they think this is what actually shocked him and made him let her go, because he wasn't expecting a 12-year-old girl, a child, to stand up for herself. I can't believe the strength of this young girl. Like, I know as myself as an adult, I do not have that strength. I feel incredibly sad, and also like I admire this girl's strength. Like, she's been through literal hell at such a young age, and the mind and literally she has the strength to keep herself alive in this situation, which I'm thankful for. I can't personally that I understand what she's been through. It's insane. Like, he abducted her in broad daylight and she was in a church car park. You think, well, most people would think churches are a safe space, the parents left their kids out of church. But if he's had no criminal record, how do you go from a calculated, now this was well planned. This wasn't like just a spur of the moment thing. He was patrolling the area for a child and he had a coffin-like box in the back of his van and he was prepared. So how is this the first and only crime? I reckon it was the first and only crime that he was found out by, because this does not sound like he's the first timer, because that just doesn't make sense, doesn't add up. To me, it doesn't add up. And the fact that he admitted so early, I mean, that's good for the police that he confessed so early. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is this crime personally, to me, is so upsetting. The fact that they did not believe her. That she had to go through all of that disbelief by the police because they're like, oh, we don't believe you. Why would they not believe her? Why would a 12-year-old, a child, mind you, a child make that up for attention? Excuse me, no. Wouldn't you, even if it was made up, wouldn't you just go with, okay, we'll find this out, and if they've made it up, yeah, you're a shitty person, just to get attention. But I would rather be safe than sorry, because like in this case, she wasn't actually making it up, so they literally made her feel like shit for no reason. Good on you. Well done. Thanks, police officers. Now, most of the people in this crime that I have looked up, they are all retired, probably because they did such a great job. They say that Randy Allen lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, and a numerous amount of girls went missing, but Randy Allen had not made any more confessions. They say that usually people who commit sex crimes like this have history of it, so it's not throughout their teenage years. It's not like they've just gone straight to committing such horrible crimes. It is like a pattern. Apparently Randy Allen is one of those rare exceptions where there's no pattern, but that's because there's no other evidence. And in 2003, so by the looks of it, this crime happened in 2001. In 2003, Randy Allen was sentenced to 2 life sentences of 75 years back to back. So he's no way he's getting out of prison alive, which is good. He doesn't deserve to be out of prison. And at the end of the episode, they ask the police, what do you think of forensics and stuff, which is the whole point of the episode is forensic files, saying that forensics is very amazing. It is amazing. It's surprising what they can find with such little evidence or such small pieces of information. In the episode, they talk about that Dana Stenson is a pseudonym, so it's not her real name, which I'm glad, because she's a 12-year-old girl when this happened. I do actually, when researching her case, I did find out her real name, but I do not want to share it because I'm not about exposing her life. What do you guys think about this case? Like, do you personally get really annoyed the fact that the police didn't believe her at first? That it actually took an entire 24 hours before they even did test kit? And I mean, yeah, it's 2001 or the late 90s, but still though, it is actually disgusting the snail pace start to this case. I reckon I would really hope, apparently I can't talk and do my lashes at the same time. I just got that all over my bottom lid. But that's okay, we can do that later. I would really like to hope that this wouldn't happen in today's age. I would imagine it still would, because there's still not every case of sexual assault is reported. That would go for men and women. Like, it just pisses me off that the lead investigator for this is a woman as well. Well, she's one of the main investigators, along with Richard Miller, who's the police captain. I believe that as a woman, she should have been a little bit more maternal, if that makes sense, and actually gone, oh wow, okay, this is a 12-year-old girl that's reported this such a terrible crime that's happened to her. This person doesn't believe her, and they actually tell this poor child they don't believe her. And she wasn't lying, and which makes me more mad, because what if the other girls that he's abducted, who they actually say Randy was going to kill her, she reacted in a way that surprised him and it saved her life. I don't know, what do you think of this? I think it's really interesting. It's such a, it really irked me that I really wanted to talk about it, and I've been a little bit MIA on YouTube, and I thought I would do 2 things at once, talk about something that is on my mind. Because Forensic Files is a show that I watch that makes me calm down and relax, and you're probably like, yeah, I really enjoy watching how forensics and how the policing has changed over the years. And Forensic Files have got more of older crimes, and it's quite amazing to see how far the criminal justice system has come and how far forensics has come in policing styles, and how more, it just amazes me how it's all about police work as well as forensics, which is all about science, and how you've got profilers as well, so it's all about psychological profiling and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool how fast, it's just cool to see how far science as well as policing have come in the years. I personally get so angry when I hear of like cases like this, if they don't believe her. Like, why wouldn't you believe a 12-year-old girl? Anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Do you believe that they should have acted sooner? I don't know why it bothers me so much every time this, because I've seen Forensic Files way too much. So if you want me to do another episode, let me know. I would love to do that. Like, I love talking, mainly because I'm a talker. Hopefully you find this as interesting as I do. So if you want to let me know your thoughts and feelings on the case down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. Subscribe right there, new video right there, and I will talk to you in my next one. Thank you for watching.